Hello, good afternoon, chickadees. It is Monday, July 17th, and this is your weekly Monday message. I've had quite a few people who've told me that they're interested in coming on and having a chat with me on the Monday message, but we haven't found specific dates for many of those people yet. So today it is just me, but I was really thinking about the purpose of why we are here in this community and the difference that it can make in people's lives. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. Thinking about our community culture, it's what draws us together and draws us into this community. I believe it's not just the fact that we are sober, because there are other communities, there's other organizations, there's other places where people go to find other sober people. A lot of them are recovery meetings. But I think that what draws people to this community specifically is not just the fact that you can or we can meet other sober people, right? It's like badass sober women. It's not just that we can meet other people and potentially make friends with them if that's something that we're looking for, but it's that there's something special in this community that we're trying to cultivate, which is a way of viewing our sobriety and the way that we want to think about and the way that we live our life and what we want to believe about ourselves as sober people. I've talked about this before, and I've talked to other people about this, that like for me, one of the things that kept me from even considering sobriety as an option in the past was that the only model that I saw of being sober was this one where I would have had to look at myself and view myself as a diseased person, as someone who is not normal, as someone who's different than everyone else, and who is really going to feel kind of sad for the whole rest of my life. And to me, that was not an option. I don't want to feel sad for the rest of my life. That's like the opposite of what I want to do. I wanted something that was more empowering. And it really, now especially being sober, it doesn't even add up. I mean, making this choice for something that is choosing health, it's choosing wholeness, it's choosing authenticity, it's choosing connection. How could I view all of this through this lens of like self-pity? But that's the only model that I saw out there. And so in this group, what I would wish for you and what I hope for people is that they're able to break free of some of those self-limiting beliefs that have come to us through our culture, through our family, through our community, so that you can live a sober life and feel really damn good about it. Like, that's what I wish for you. That's what I wish for myself. That's what I wish for all of us. Because, it's almost like this, like a trance that has taken over a lot of the American culture, that is to drink alcohol is to have a superior life, which obviously I believe that is completely false. So I was at a retreat this weekend, this nature connection forest retreat, and I got a ride out with these three women, out and back with these three women. And I was talking to this one woman who, her parents had immigrated from China. And she told me, we were talking about alcohol because I'd mentioned, in the retreat, in our sharing, I'd mentioned about being sober. And she told me that she had never really liked alcohol. She said she never really could even understand what the draw was that people had to alcohol. She just never really wanted it. And she said it in this way that was sort of apologetic about it. Like she knew, like, oh yeah, I know. Like, I know I'm lame. There's like, I'm not cool. I'm not, whatever, because I never liked alcohol, which I felt kind of sad that she felt like that she felt like she needed to be that way. But what she explained to me was that her grandfather had told her when she was growing up all about like stories about the opium wars back in China, which I have read a little bit about. But what her grandfather told her was, if it weren't for this drug being introduced into our culture and, the way that it affected us, he said that is the reason we were colonized. Like it basically weakened us as a country to the point that we were colonized. So she was saying that because of that, she felt like because of that, she just never wanted alcohol because she put that in the same category as something like opium and the effect that it could have on her and her as a Chinese person. So for her, she's like thinking about her ancestors and this ancestral influence on her, the way that's showing up in her today. And, drugs and alcohol have been used as a weapon by colonizers to oppress people. It was used here in the United States on the indigenous people here. They purposely supplied alcohol to indigenous people to weaken them. That was like part of their strategy. Of course, they did all the other things like taking away their food supply by killing off the bison and things like that. But that was part of their strategy. And I read an excerpt that Frederick Douglass had written where he was, talking about being a slave. And he told a story about how when he was a slave, that the slave owners they gave them one holiday every year that was like around Christmas time. They gave them just like, a couple days off, whatever it was, like 2 days off, 3 days off or something. And during that time, it was like, this was a time where a lot of the people who were enslaved, they wanted to use that time to rest, to pay attention to things in their own house, to maybe like repair some baskets or, just do something in their house. But what the slave owners did was they not only supplied them with hard alcohol, but they kind of coerced them into drinking, where they organized drinking contests. They sort of forced them to drink. If there was people who didn't want to participate and they wanted to just like stay in their homes, then they were, whatever they would do to try to influence them or kind of force them to drink alcohol. And what he explained was the reason why he felt that the owners did this was because they wanted their slaves to feel so terrible after their days off that they would be happy to go back to work. So think about that for a minute. That kind of makes me think about people on their weekends and about how people get so excited to like start drinking on Friday night. You drink on Friday night, Saturday night, maybe a little bit on Sunday to take the edge off. That's what I always did. And then I felt so much crap on Monday that it was like almost a relief to go back to work. Of course, then I'd have to have a couple more glasses of wine on Monday night to take the edge off again. But so anyways, it has been actually used as a weapon of oppression. And she told me that she felt like maybe because of what her grandfathers had said, that she was now somehow like bringing forth the trauma, and she was like still living the trauma of her ancestors by not drinking and not ever wanting to drink or not ever wanting to do drugs. And I said to her, I said, either you're bringing forth the trauma, I said, or you are actually healing the trauma because you're not doing it. You're not actually carrying it on. You don't even want to. And it's like, she doesn't want to, her husband doesn't want to. He's also Chinese. She said he likes to have a nice piece of fruit and like a cold glass of milk at night. And he just takes like immense pleasure in that as his nightly ritual. And I was just like, that is actually a very empowering way to live as someone who doesn't even want alcohol. You don't even want alcohol or drugs. It's like, how amazing is that? All these other people feel like they need it. They feel like they have to have it, even though it's harming them. So this is actually a very empowering way to live. And she was like, wow, like, thank you so much for that reframe. I had never thought about it like that. So she had gone through her entire life. She's 35 years old, thinking of herself as some kind of like second-class citizen because she doesn't drink. And why is that? It's this culture that we live in. So for me, when I think about this community and what it can do for us, is it's helping us to have a lived experience that can help us to unlearn these really harmful beliefs that we have picked up from the world that we live in. Because now we get to see like what it's like to be able to make social connections, to have something you can go out someplace, you can get together with some friends, you can do things where alcohol is not even, nobody wants it. It's not part of the equation at all. And how empowering is that to have that experience? So there's this woman, she talked about how when she was in graduate school in New York City, that she had this group of people, of friends that she got together with, and they had a meditation group on Friday nights. She said that they would meditate. It was from like, she couldn't remember if it was 7 to 9 p.m. or 8 to 10 p.m., something like that. But they would get together and do group meditation and then drink tea. And she said it was totally lovely. And then they would come out of, wherever they were, like into Union Square. And she said that it was just, they were like, oh, wow, this is not what most people are doing. And yeah, it's not what most people are doing. But the beliefs that people have is that somehow that's the better thing to do just because that's what we can see. That's what's being advertised. That's what's being sold. That's what's being marketed to us. But when we're the ones who are actually doing the thing that is not the thing that everyone else is doing, and we're like, wow, this is better. Like, I like this. I love this. I love this life. It is very empowering. And there's this, it's just, I'm still just constantly, I don't know, when I see all these advertisements for, like yoga and wine, it's like everything's including alcohol, right? So it's like yoga and wine, or like an art show and cocktails. This thing, it's like everything has to include alcohol. Like, no one can just enjoy yoga or enjoy looking at art or enjoy going to see music or being with people. And so, without alcohol and without drugs, without being intoxicated. And it's like, where did just being human, where did that go? Just being able to just enjoy things just like a child does. A child isn't playing or, eating a peanut butter sandwich and thinking like, dang, this peanut butter sandwich should be so much better if I just had some beer with it. Like if I was just getting kind of fucked up while I was eating the sandwich, So it's like, where do we switch to all of a sudden we feel like, okay, I'm an adult now. So now I can't just have these experiences and just enjoy them as a human would, because life is inherently enjoyable. Of course, it's all this other stuff. I am not like, and here I talk about this too, about like, I don't want to do the toxic positivity thing. I am not trying to pretend like life is only that, like life is only enjoyable, but there is so much to enjoy about life, even with the hardships and the pain and the traumatic things that happen, there still is so much to enjoy about life. And we still get to make choices about that. That's the thing, is we get to actually choose how it is that we want to experience our own life. We don't have to just accept these beliefs from the society around us. So when people join this community, I don't know if people always think that that's what they're looking for. You know, they're just like, I just want to be around some people who also want to just like hang out, and like alcohol's not part of the equation. It is kind of annoying being around people who are drinking. It's hard to connect with them. They start repeating themselves. They, you know, at some point, like can't see straight. I mean, we know what it's like. You're just trying to like hang in there. Remember that? So, you know, it's like you may come like thinking about that, thinking about, maybe you're thinking, oh, this would really support my sobriety, but it can help you completely reframe, and not only reframe, but like hold that frame, like hold that new vision of the world, because there is a lot of money that is going into making you and me and everyone else feel like they need the stuff in order to have a good time. You know, it's like you Google like women's night out or whatever, or women's friendship, and pictures will come up that it's always women with wine, women with these giant goblets of wine. It's like, wow, really? I mean, they spend a lot of money trying to convince us of that. It's like we're inundated with it. And so by just being in this community, we're able to like hold this frame of the way that we want to see life, the way that we want to view it. So there is another friend of mine who is sober, and she told me that she really wanted to have her wedding without alcohol, because she wanted people to just be fully present and just like be there for, you know, to witness and to celebrate her relationship with her beloved. But she was afraid that if she had a wedding without alcohol, that no one would come. And that's heartbreaking. Like, that really is heartbreaking. And I mean, and I have to say, I actually have had that at the beginning when I was starting this community. I was thinking, I bet there's going to be people that are going to find it hard to come to things, because in the past they would have gone because there was also alcohol. And now they have to make the choice of like, I'm going to choose to go. There's no alcohol. I'm going for the people. I'm going for the community. I'm going for the connections that I'm going to make. I'm going for that feeling of belonging that I'm going to get from being around other people. So yeah, that is my wish for you, is that this community can help to give you that feeling of this sense of empowerment from being here, from participating in the community, however it is that you can communicate or participate in it. And that it will help you to get free from really this trance of self-limiting beliefs that so many people seem to be under, thinking that life is somehow better with alcohol when it obviously is not. And it becomes more and more obvious the more that you're actually participating in a place where other people believe the same thing. And you can see like, yes, this is actually better. So, yeah, sitting around reading, like I love to like read, journal, meditate, you know, listen to people, smart people talking about things. I love all of that. But actually participating and giving yourself a lived experience of it, so that you're bringing your body into it. It's not just your mind, but you're actually bringing your body into the experience. Like, that is really what can make a huge shift in the way that you see yourself and this amazing, amazing choice that you've made. So that is it for today. Next Monday, I am going to be in Wyoming. I'm going to Wyoming on Thursday to help my mom out with some financial stuff. Just get some things organized, and I just need to go visit her, check in on her, see how things are going. Because you know how it is sometimes when you're talking to people on the phone and all of that, you don't really get the full picture. It's only when you actually go to visit, and then you can see like, oh, this is what is actually going on here. So I'm going to visit my mom, and I love my mom. So I'm looking forward to seeing her. So I will be in Wyoming next Monday, and maybe I'll have somebody joining me on that day. That would be great. I'd love to have a conversation with one of the members on this next Monday. So have a wonderful week. I love you. I'm glad that you're here. You're meant to be here. You belong. Bye.